the Retro Network Podcast.
Kind of like Home Alone mixed with The Hangover.
Pause, timeout. All right, I'm doing the Zach Morris thing.
Yes.
The flagship show for the Retro Network Podcast channel.
We've got some fun stuff in this episode.
Man, that's like listening to classic Guns N' Roses.
Even G.I. Joe fans are like, WTF.
Get ready for the latest pop culture news.
We've got plenty of recurrent events headlines to get to.
Man, can you imagine getting a service that streamed all these old Nickelodeon shows?
Interviews.
Let me just start out by asking you, what was your Batman experience when it first came out?
Yeah, summer of '89, I was very excited. I was a comic book reader.
And topical discussions on all that stuff we grew up with and just can't leave in the past.
There's just so many great memories that I have as a kid, just begging mom to go to the department store.
We were the target audience for Sears catalogs. I remember getting them and mom sitting down at the kitchen table and getting on the telephone and making her orders.
How have you not watched The Matrix?
When I went to the movies, I was trying to go watch a sensitive movie, the ones where you could put your arm around your date.
And now, here are your hosts for the Retro Network Podcast, Jason.
I like to have pictures with my words.
And Mickey.
I ain't farting on no snare drum.
The TRN podcast is back. It is Jason, and I believe I'm joined by Mickey this week.
You certainly are, sir.
I might need to test that out. What if I say to you, Cheez-Its Pizza Hut Pizza?
I've had a bad experience this weekend with that.
You had a bad experience?
Yeah, just found out yesterday evening late that my wife and I are going to be getting a divorce.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. We were ordering Pizza Hut, and she's seen them online. She said, how about we get that and try it? And I'm like, I don't even know you anymore. What are you doing?
Yes, this is Mickey. Thanks for coming back.
Like, it's like the 16, 17, 18, however many years we've been married now. It's just like you've just been a stranger this whole time.
So she actually got it, or did you like...
Hell no, we didn't get it.
Okay.
We are not spending my paycheck on that.
I was gonna say you might like set fire to it before it reaches the house or something.
No, I just
stuff out of here.
I just refuse to be a part of something like that. You know how I feel, and everybody listening knows how I feel about Pizza Hut and their misdirections and how they're killing themselves. I'm not gonna. You know, when you texted me that you were trying them and I called you a traitor, you mentioned that on last week's show, but you left out. Right. Second text I sent you about that when I told you that if you're not part of the solution, then you are part of the problem. I refuse to be part of the problem.
Well, it was there. I feel like George in the peeing in the shower episode. I saw a drain. I
was in the pool.
Oh yeah, that one too. Oh gosh. Anyway, it's good to have you back. Did you have a good weekend, even though I guess you had to work last weekend? How did your week go?
I did. And I hate I couldn't be on the show, but something I learned a long time ago, that people can't miss you if you never leave. So I think it's good every now and then to take a break. Just make people miss you a little bit more.
Okay, well, I'm going to take next week off then. How about that?
That sounds excellent. I mean, really?
I am for real. So it's your show next week, man.
Yes, it is. And I invite everybody to tell a friend to tune in because I got some different stuff coming at you than what you normally hear.
Oh, I'm a little frightened, I must say.
There ain't going to be nothing Jason can do about, well, I don't know. He can always edit it out because he's going to have to edit this thing.
Hey, whatever you give me, I'm going to put in the show. So.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah. The listeners will either thank us or unfollow us later. We'll find out which is the case.
Well, yeah, we'll see.
But Adam did a great job last week, I thought. We had a lot of fun together, and he brought it, man. What did you think of his little impression of you? I thought that was fun.
I loved it. Terry Funk always used to say that imitation is the fondest form of flattery. And so Adam knocked it out of the park, I thought. I mean, other people who know me may have a different opinion, but there for a minute, I was like, I don't remember recording this. What's going on?
He did a great job. That was really fun.
Yeah, the whole show he did great. And it was fun listening to him talk about stuff in his collection. And he didn't mention it, but when he was talking about the Mean Gene's burgers, all the stuff he has from that restaurant from years ago, maybe he forgot, but a while back, he actually sent me some of the napkins from that I've got now because he knew I was a big Mean Gene fan too. So I've got some of the Mean Gene's Burgers napkins.
Nice. That's that was just crazy to think about that Mean Gene had a restaurant and just happened upon it somewhere, you know.
Well, do you remember when Hulk Hogan had his Pastamania restaurant?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, now it was restaurants, or was it just the pasta in the cans?
No, he had a restaurant. He had at least one because it was in the Mall of America in Minnesota.
Okay.
And they recorded the first episode of Monday Nitro there. And halfway through the show, he's at his restaurant shilling his plates of spaghetti live from his restaurant.
Wow. That's crazy. Every once in a while, I'll see that picture of him in that huge, like, yellow chef's hat and the pasta, you know. I'll see that circle around on the web. Plugging your own stuff during your wrestling show. Mm-hmm. Oh, well. Well, it's good to have you back, man. We've got a lot to get to in this episode. Like you were saying, I had about 2 pages of notes, and you've added your spin on that. We actually, you're going to put that up on Patreon to let everybody see the little behind the scenes of how we take notes and all your little corrections you like to make to it.
Yeah, but what I should have done for people who have not paid attention so far, Jason puts together this really professional, really nice layout. Sometimes I skim through it. Sometimes I don't look at them at all. Sometimes I read them in depth. But when I make my own notes on them, I usually scribble them in the margins, which I should have done that for the Patreon post. But I actually went through and done it professionally on the computer and added my notes and highlighted them. And I'm going to put both versions of it up on Patreon so people can see how we get ready for the podcast every week.
There you go. Yeah.
If I wanted to give them a 100% authentic look at how we get ready for the pod every week, I'd take a picture of me on the couch watching TV with the clock showing 5 minutes till podcast time.
And headed for the fridge, for a beverage.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. All right. Well, we've got a couple of announcements wanted to pass along. First, our giveaway is still going on for the Ugly Halloween sweater. If you haven't entered yet, you've got through October 10th. At midnight to get your entries in. If you've already entered, you can actually tweet one more time each day through that Rafflecopter widget and earn an extra entry. And man, I've been blown away. I haven't looked at the widget lately, but it was thousands of entries that we have in that.
Tell you, people, you definitely want to try to earn your free one. And if you don't get it, Jason, I'm sure is going to tell you shortly how to get one at a discount through us. But you're going to want one because I've managed to wear mine out in public twice, and I've been stopped 6 times and asked about it.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they are quite popular, and I'm going to give everybody another look at it in another video I've got coming up. But yeah, you need to get you one.
Yeah. In that article on the Retro Network, you've got your review video in there as well. That was fun with your daughter.
Yeah, that was fun recording too. She enjoyed doing it with me, and of course, I'm an attention hound anyway, so I like doing anything like that.
Well, that was a fun video. Yeah, make sure you're entered, and we'll tell you how to save some money here in a little bit. Over on Patreon, like we were talking about, we're going through a little bit of some changes here. We're kind of going back and forth on how to come up with some exclusive content and have that be kind of the driving motivation, I guess you'll say, to help us over there on Patreon. We're thinking about some exclusive podcasts and stuff coming up. And we'll tell you more about that as we kind of finalize everything. But just a little bit of piece of business from last month. We talked about that RetroCon prize pack. And the winner of that was Jeff Sheldon. So congratulations to Jeff. And he got that prize pack. And like I said, we're going to kind of mix up the benefits a little bit in the next couple months. We're going to get away from the giveaway stuff. As much as we love giving stuff away, it's we want the people to follow us based on some extra exclusive content, podcasts and such. So
right, and I hadn't shared this with you, but you and we've been talking about a new exclusive separate podcast on Patreon. I ran the idea by one of our Patreon subscribers the other day, and the feedback was fantastic. So people really like. I don't want to spoil the idea, but we'll tell you more about it here in the near future because I think we're going to do some test runs of it on this show.
Yeah. I think in 2 weeks, we're going to try to do one of those shows that we're going to put in that separate feed over there on Patreon coming up. And mainly next year, I think we're going to plan on doing something like once a month throughout the year and have it be a themed kind of a podcast. So we'll tease you for now, and we'll come back, and once we get everything finalized, we'll let you all know in on it and see how you like it, and hopefully you will and want to back us over there. We also have the essay contest finished up from September. Yep. And tallied up the votes. I don't even know who won. So
well, I do. And before I get into who won, I just want to thank the ones who actually entered. Everybody had a great entry. I've got some feedback from various folks about how much they enjoyed the pieces. I personally enjoyed them all. Of course, I got the first look where I was going through doing some editing on them, and it's great to read people's memories. And but there can only be one winner, and everybody here at the Retro Network checked out every feature that came in, and we put it to a vote, and by a very, very narrow margin, our winner was Jeff Sheldon. Hey, that's 2 prizes in one.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
With his entry on the line of Dick Tracy action figures.
Oh, yeah, that was, wow. That was very in-depth. That was impressive, actually. I'm not ashamed to use the word impressive there. I've actually voted for the Pitfall one with the Christmas trip and vacationing. That was a great article too. That kind of took me back. But yeah, man, that Dick Tracy one, that was just I don't know, almost like an encyclopedia of
yeah, I loved it. I loved it. And it inspired me so much just from reading it that I went on eBay and I'm now looking for Dick Tracy action figures. But Jeff, I will be in contact probably before you hear this announcement actually. But congratulations to Jeff and everybody else who did not enter or entered and did not come in first this time. Keep your eyes open in the near future. We will probably be doing another essay contest soon.
Cool. Yeah, man, Jeff. You've got stuff from RetroCon coming from me, and you got a bunch of 80s and 90s goodies coming from Mickey.
Oh, yes.
Man, so that's awesome. And congratulations on winning the essay contest there. That was really fun. Yeah, like you said, I appreciate everybody that submitted an article. They were all great. But coming up, we got some fun stuff to get through in the Time Machine, sponsored by Retro Days. It's almost Halloween, man. We're getting there. We still got 3 weeks, but it's not quite the weather temperature I need here in the deep south. We're hopefully going to get some cool weather next week, actually. But it's that Halloween season, so we thought it'd be fun to talk about Halloween treats. Our favorites, our least favorites. That should be fun to get to because I have a feeling there's going to be some on both of our sides that might be a favorite that the other one thinks is disgusting or something, you know. You never know with the Halloween treats.
Very possible.
So that's going to be fun, getting in that Halloween spirit early this year. But first, we go to Recurrent Events. Okay, Recurrent Events is sponsored by HalloweenCostumes.com, and this week you can get 20% off one item now through October the 12th. So if you got your eyes on something maybe a little bit out of your range, use the link in our show notes, and you can save 20% off that one item. Or if you want to save 15% off your entire order, like we've been promoting for the last couple of weeks, click on that link in the show notes and you can save 15% off your entire order through our exclusive TRN promo link. So make sure you take advantage of that. And like we said earlier, enter the ugly Halloween sweater giveaway and see if you can come up with that as well during the season. But, oh man, Mickey, we've got some fun stuff to get to. I say fun kind of in quotations this week. But leading off in movies, I thought this was interesting. The rights to some popular 80s movies could be reverting back to its original writers in the next couple years. This coming according to Hollywood Reporter. What happens is after 35 years, the original writer can reclaim ownership, and then there's like a 2-year window which the studios have to, if they want to like fast track a sequel or a reboot before that deadline hits. And we've seen that already. The most recent Pet Sematary was kind of like that, with Stephen King kind of going back now and reclaiming a bunch of his stuff. And also Friday the 13th with, I don't know how many remakes that thing has had in recent years, but those are kind of a couple that came to mind. But the properties I wanted to talk to you about that they've already submitted, the writers have submitted the paperwork for: Die Hard, Predator, Beetlejuice, Nightmare on Elm Street, Terminator, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So just thinking about them, it's kind of weird now to think it might be a little cash grab for one of these production companies. But do you see any of those like getting a fast track sequel or reboot in the next couple years?
I would say Die Hard most definitely, because that's been a money-making franchise. We just seen a new Predator. I don't know if they'll be able to turn another one around that quick or not. I'd say we'll probably get another Nightmare on Elm Street incarnation. And we've got a new Terminator already coming out, so I know they won't be able to turn that one around. But what I'm interested in is, I didn't know something like this even existed, but I would say we're going to start seeing a whole lot more of this. Now, unless the original writers are getting really big royalties and things for the existing production studios, because with all these streaming apps like we've been talking about looking for content, they can reclaim the ownership and then turn around and repurpose it to somebody else to start a whole new franchise with.
Right.
And with all these streaming apps, I mean, there could be some big money for these original owners, because they would still earn royalties off of what's been produced with their material in the past, and now a chance to double, triple, quadruple that with going forward. Right. So,
well, I think it's funny, like, because I know Beetlejuice, that sequel rumor has been going around. I think even Winona Ryder had been out there that they're going to do it, and Michael Keaton was on board at one point. And some of these franchises kind of go through that, and you're like, should they or shouldn't they? But you know, with this happening, with the writers reclaiming their works, we're going to get some really crappy movies. I mean, most of them aren't like what we want anyway. But if this is a trend that they fast track these movies like this just to make some money off them, it just seems to be logical, at least, that it's just going to get worse and worse and worse, unless the writer is on board with adding to the story or doing something to kind of protect the original idea. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of these just seem to go off, and you can tell which ones are the cash grabs. But we get some weird sequels and stuff too from these movies. So
you reckon that's why we're getting a new Top Gun film this year?
I don't know. If I could be. I think Tom Cruise, he's got some kind of deal with the studios as well through J.J. Abrams and everything he does for him. I don't think J.J. Abrams is directing the Top Gun, but all those Mission Impossibles are kind of fed through J.J. Abrams and Tom Cruise at the same time. They've got some kind of deal. So I don't know. I don't know if Top Gun is part of that process or not, but I know he'd been talking about that forever.
You know, looking at this list, it opens up the possibility when these writers get it back for, like we said, streaming series. The one on this list I think would have the best chance of working as a series would be Beetlejuice. And I was thinking about after I read your notes that the way Alec Baldwin and his wife called on him in the movie, every episode could be a different family he's going to help out / hinder / whatever. I think you could turn that into a recurring series.
That would be fun. I think it's interesting, like, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, I think, is a Disney property. And as much as Disney has sequeled the crap out of everything, we should have had a sequel by now on that. So I don't know, that might be something that they've got eyes on.
I don't know about these days who owns it, but I was pretty sure that was a Warner Brothers property when it came out. I thought.
I don't remember. We'll have to look that one up.
Because Roger Rabbit was kind of loosely based on the original character from Disney Studios. The one, Mickey Mouse kind of took over. What was that other character's name? I can't remember now, but there was a big dispute with the original creator of that first character, and now it's back to Disney folk. But anyway, Roger Rabbit was kind of based loosely on that character, and it's almost like a shot at Disney when the movie came out. So,
all right, maybe I'm misremembering then. Okay, well that's an interesting story, and we'll be keeping our eyes on some other ones that might pop up, some extra or some fast track movies in the near future. Speaking of movies, I saw that the Snake Eyes movie cast a Baroness this week. It's a girl named Ursula Corbero. She stars in the Netflix series Money Heist. I've never seen that. Never heard of that. But I thought it was interesting. They've got obviously Snake Eyes. They've got Storm Shadow and the Hard Master, and now they're bringing in Baroness. So that was interesting to me that they're adding in other G.I. Joe characters. It might be more of an ensemble movie if they're going to add in like the Baroness and they go to Destro or whoever else. I don't know. What do you think about that? I was thinking more or less it's just going to be Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow the whole time.
Well, the fact that they've added the Hard Master leads me to think they're going down that path with that storyline. So I'd say it won't be too long till we see they've cast Zartan, because Zartan was a key figure in that specific storyline. Right. And I pulled up pictures of this Ursula. Mm-hmm. Every picture I'm seeing of her, she has short hair. Maybe they'll put some extensions in or something. Give her some some nerd glasses. And I don't know. This, I don't. What are the thoughts on this till I see how they present her on screen?
Well, I was just kind of more interested in the fact that they're adding that character, and how they're going to tie her into the story. Well,
I was just more interested in who they were going to get to fill out that leather bodysuit and the nerd glasses. That's care less about their acting.
All right. Well, let's keep moving along. We've got more movie reboot news. Eddie Murphy said this week that after Coming America 2, he's working on another Beverly Hills Cop sequel, number 4.
Well, Eddie Murphy needs to get back in the reboot game because all of his original movies in the last 10 years have sucked. So, have not been good.
I've seen pretty good things about this Dolomite that's coming to Netflix. Like it's the second coming of Eddie Murphy. So I don't know. I don't know if dipping back into his, other movies that we know is a good thing or a bad thing, where he's coming up with something original that people seem to like. You know what I mean?
Well, Dolomite's not original. Please tell me you've seen Dolomite movies in the past.
No, have not.
With Rudy Ray Moore, man, you need to go to YouTube.
Okay.
These are 70s blaxploitation movies.
Oh, okay.
And Rudy Ray Moore is the greatest. It's like he goes through a hellfire of 300 bullets and then karate chops the people to death. And he gets out of prison and there's women waiting for him and he's back in his pimp outfit the next day in his gold Cadillac. And they are so glorious. I'm actually really excited just because from a campy movie perspective, Dolomite is as gold gets. And to see how Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence and the rest of the cast pull that off, I'm excited for. I know, though, the interest had waned in it because they were shooting for a big budget release, in theaters, but it is settled at Netflix as an exclusive. So I don't think the industry interest was there as much as somebody like my personal interest is. But yeah, when we get off of here, you need to go search Dolomite on YouTube and watch clips. They're so bad, they're good.
I just was not into anything Eddie Murphy to really do any research behind that. So thanks for telling me that you're an aficionado on blaxploitation pictures from the 70s.
Well, it is the season to watch Blackula again too while you're there.
There you go.
One more thing. Dolomite has one of the best catchphrases in the history of movies. I'll have to leave the last word out, but his catchphrase is, "You rat suit wearing honky mother,"
Okay.
It's great.
I'll have to watch some trailers or something when we get off here. Okay, well, moving along, in reboot news, Disney confirms a new Inspector Gadget movie is in development. Now, if there's any hope for fans after the Matthew Broderick and French Stewart movies, one of the producers worked on the Warner Brothers franchises for Sherlock Holmes, It, and the Lego movies. So maybe that's what we need, is a Sherlock /It/Lego movie instead of this. I don't know. I wasn't into the Inspector Gadget movies at all, really. It just did not tie into what I remember Inspector Gadget, as a kid. But
yeah, I didn't watch the movies. I used to love the cartoon. I'd either want to see one of two things. If they're going a movie route, of course, you about have to make it comedic and family oriented, but they were to turn Inspector Gadget like into a Jason Bourne movie, or like a Batman movie, where he's a real badass Inspector Gadget.
That's not what he was, though, man. He was the bumbling detective.
Or the other side, give us a new cartoon on one of these streaming services. Give us 13 episodes of a new version.
Well, they did on Netflix.
Well, I missed it. When did that come out?
Just in the last couple of years.
See, I'm only up to 1996. So
right. We watched it. It was like 2 11-minute segments, like different little mini episodes in each 22-minute part of that. So it was, I don't know if they did like 13 or 10 or whatever they do to start. So the 10 or whatever was actually 20 different episodes. And they had this little character, Penny was a little bit younger, and this, I think it was the son or I don't know, one of Dr. Claw's family. This little boy was like the antagonist of the whole thing. And I don't know. I didn't care for it very much, and really none of my kids, when we started watching it, really got into it. So you're not missing much, I don't think.
Yeah, probably not.
But I don't know. I just hope they can capture a little bit more of what we remember versus going off into some weird new direction with Inspector Gadget. All right, well, let's get on to some streaming TV. This is what we live for. Well, Netflix confirmed this week we were getting season 4 of Stranger Things. They gave us this weird clock teaser. I think we all knew it was coming back for season 4, so this really isn't a big deal. But what kind of intrigued me that I'm going to throw in here, Mickey, that I didn't put in the notes was Lost in Space season 2. They just released the trailer for that. That's coming December 24th, the second season. I'm probably asking the wrong person, but did you watch the first season?
I caught bits and pieces of it. The wife watched every bit of it, and when I'd be in the room, it would be on. But I never was a fan of the original, so I didn't feel the need to watch the new one.
Yeah, I never got into the original either. I think they still show episodes on MeTV. I think it's Saturday nights when they do. They get into the sci-fi, but it was actually my oldest son that got into it and kind of sucked me in, and we ended up watching the first season. I thought it was pretty good for what it was worth, but I don't know. I'm not really pumped for season 2 or anything. I can't really remember much about season 1 because we went through it in like 3 days, But that's the animal that is Netflix now with the binging. But this one I did send over to you. I thought this has been like a game changer for me for Pluto TV. Game changer by everybody in our household has been watching this. They created a 24/7 channel for American Gladiators on Pluto TV just recently.
Yes.
The classic episodes and the 2008 reboot that was hosted by Layla Ali and Hulk Hogan. We've been watching episodes. It's almost like nonstop in our household the last like 3 days.
Hey, is American Gladiators one of the shows that they have the on-demand option for?
That I have not checked.
The reason I'm asking, I don't mind a bit tuning in to whatever episode is on, but I want you and other people and myself to be able to go check out some of the episodes, the very original episodes that I told you about when we done the Rediscover the 80s pod, where it was set up like a medieval set where the referees were dressed like executioners and the games were designed a little differently. The joust was a bridge instead of the 2 pedestals, and if you backed too far up from your opponent, you triggered a trap door and fell anyway. I mean, it was great. It was great. It was that's what hooked me on the show in the beginning, and when it came back as the serious competition format, which it was serious competition then, but I still love the show, but those are unique episodes if you can go on there and find them. You can find some on YouTube if you can't find them there, though.
I'll have to look and see if the on-demand is available for that show. I did find, I tweeted out, and you both told me to watch it, you and Adam, that Last Action Hero was one of the ones they had on demand. So I actually started watching that last night.
Well, I only urged you to go watch it because I know it's kind of crappy, and I just wanted you to have to sit through it.
Yeah. Until we got to the part with, who is it, Bridget Wilson?
Yeah.
Then I was like, oh, okay, now I'll watch it. Anyway, that was just having an American Gladiators channel. I thought was great. They've also got a Baywatch channel. They've got a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles channel. Now this is mainly the Nickelodeon show that they've done in the last couple years.
Oh.
So I have not seen any original episodes as I'm flipping past there. We got the new animated Addams Family movie coming out. They've got a full channel 24/7 on the Addams Family episodes from back in the day. And then MTV, they've got their, newer crappy shows. They've got several channels with those, but they've also got music video channels now. One is called Halloween, HOLLA, which is like spooky music videos. This is all years. This isn't just retro stuff, but I thought that was fun that they're at least bringing some back. And they do one that's called Block Party, and they'll show you the other night I was watching a string of Bobby Brown music videos, and they'll put a certain artist and just show music videos from that artist for 30 minutes or an hour, I guess based on how long their career's been. But at least MTV is bringing back some videos too. We talked about that 80s flashback channel, which is great, but I'm glad that they're getting in that mood a little bit too over there on Pluto TV.
And especially really embracing it with the fact that to create another sub-channel of just spooky videos for the season.
Right.
That's
right.
cool.
And then this was weird to me that, one of the probably most accessible or shows that's tied to PBS, Sesame Street, is moving to HBO Max now. They laid out this 5-year deal, which includes their whole library dating back 50 years. And then they're going to do 5 new seasons of 35 episodes over there on HBO Max. And you'll still get to see it on PBS Kids, but it will be those new episodes only after they air on HBO Max. So it's kind of taking that classic show that's public access almost, and now it's in the streaming world. I thought that was an interesting move. It's good for HBO Max, obviously, if they're trying to push more kids content, and Sesame Street's such a household name. So
HBO Max is shaping up to be a powerhouse in the streaming world. And you add something like this. Imagine if you do have a little one, but I'll say, imagine if I had my 2 kids that were little. My goodness, with that 50-year library, you could turn that on and just let it go from episode to episode all day long, keep the kids entertained.
And from what I've read, they're going to have that possibility to where it's almost like a Sesame Street channel that just runs old episodes back to back. So that's a game changer to me, I think.
And while we're on the streaming news, I just learned today, my daughters both watch the new show Riverdale. I'm sure you're aware of what that is.
Yes.
The season finishes on the CW network, and usually within a few days it goes up on Netflix to binge watch. Well, this year, the new episode, I think, airs on Wednesday nights. Netflix is dropping the new episode the following day every week. So this is kind of the first example of them doing that. And I wonder if something like this is a response. We've been tracking these streaming wars heating up. I wonder if something like this is a response to the pressure they're under from these other streaming services that, okay, we got to really compete with Hulu now. What do they do that we can do? Well, they put shows on the next day. Well, by God, so can we. So,
right. That's true.
So that's the first show I've seen or heard of them doing that way. So I thought it was interesting and wanted to bring it up that they're starting to change their model a little bit.
Yeah, it's dog eat dog, man. I mean, they want to match what people are doing on other services. I saw a story, I think it was this week, that Amazon Prime suddenly disappeared from Apple stuff. like from the Apple Store, the app, and then from Apple TV, the Amazon Prime, and then they came back and said it was a mistake or something. They were having problems with it, which I was like, I wonder if that's a cover up or something. But I wouldn't be surprised if some of that stuff starts happening where you've got a hub that is removing some of their competitors' stuff altogether.
Right. And that could have been an intentional test. Hey, let's take it down and see what happens.
Right.
We'll claim it was a glitch. And then but if the response is just kind of minimal, it puts it in their head like, yeah. But the response they got shows them, we best not be messing with this.
Right. Exactly. Okay, a couple more pieces of TV news. You ever watch the show Forensic Files? It seems like that show's been on forever.
Never watched it.
Really? Okay. It's actually been on since 1996, and they have not aired any new episodes since 2011. But they've been running reruns on cable on this HLN network, which I think was Headline News at one point. They're going to make new episodes of Forensic Files coming next year in February. And it's just one of those shows, I don't know. I always seem to have gone back to it at some point, watch a couple episodes here or there. There's a 24/7 channel on Pluto with Forensic Files. But I don't know. It just was one of those shows that's always been around, and me and the wife would watch a couple episodes here and there. And it's popular enough that they're still running reruns up to 70 hours a week on HLN. So
holy crap.
Yeah. Anyway, they
got 70 hours to run reruns of Forensic Files, but nobody can find time to show 1 hour a day of Dukes of Hazzard. What is going on?
That's right.
The detective work of Roscoe and Enos, I'd put against anybody on Forensic Files.
Oh gosh.
You're laughing, but I didn't mean that as a joke.
Oh, I don't know. Forensic Files, it was a fun show. I would probably prefer to watch Dukes of Hazzard over it, though.
Yes, you would.
The wife wouldn't, though.
So maybe you're going to be getting a divorce too, then.
Could be. All right, and the last little thing here in TV news. In news that should have happened 23 years ago, Will Smith this week unveiled a clothing line inspired by the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I was like, are you kidding me? I love Fresh Prince back in the day. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to knock the show itself, but he's not doing like jumpsuits and those weird straight build hats that, Fresh Prince used to wear back in the day. It's just like t-shirts and hoodies and this reversible jacket that looks like the prep school jacket he wore in the show, like that pattern or something. But I don't know. This just seems more like a cash grab to me.
Oh, so okay. So it's going to be like t-shirts inspired by Fresh, but like with the logo on. Oh,
designs and stuff. It's not like the actual hip hop that he wore back then.
I was hoping parachute pants were coming back so I could get mine back out again.
No, don't mean to disappoint you there.
Well, crap.
You have to check that out. It was interesting, I thought, but I don't know. It just seemed a little. Why are you doing this now, Will? You got more money, you know what to do with. Why are you making Fresh Prince clothing now? Anyway. All right. And then the final thing for recurrent events, we're going to get into some food here. Now, this is not a new thing because when I looked at the item on Amazon, it's been around for several years. But I saw this article over on Geekology this week about these things called chip fingers. And, we've all...
Like when you put the bugles on your fingers?
Sort of. But instead of like being food on your fingers, there's these little slip covers that protect your fingers so you don't get like Cheeto dust on them.
Good Lord.
I don't know. I thought it was the funniest thing. I've never minded, like Cheeto dust on my fingers unless I'm at like work and I'm doing some snacking at work and I don't want the stuff all over me, or if I know a client is going to show up or something, I don't want to have Cheeto stuff all over my fingers when I shake their hands. But I don't know. They should give them out at Taco Bell, I think, for the Doritos tacos, because I don't like those things for some reason at Taco Bell. It seems like a good idea, but every time I try to eat them, then my fingers are covered in all the Dorito dust. So
Oh,
maybe I
boy.
should get a pair of these things.
Yeah, no. Turn in your man card if you do. But
Okay.
speaking of Taco Bell, let me rant for just a minute.
Mm-mm.
I went into Well, I didn't go in. I went through the drive-thru at Taco Bell a few days ago, picking up some lunch, and I casually ordered. It's like, I'd like a double-decker taco. You know what the double-decker taco is, right?
Yeah, it's the soft shell and the hard shell in the middle, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. She comes back and says, I'm sorry, we've discontinued the double-decker taco.
What?
Yeah. And well, okay, but that was all right. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, let me get a Mexamelt instead. Long pause. Sir, we've discontinued the Mexamelt too. And
When's the last time you've been to Taco Bell, man?
I go like once a week.
Okay.
So, I mean, this is all fairly recent. So, the double decker I just kind of let wash off, and this one's starting to tick me off now. Not that I can't get a Mexamelt, it's just like, what are they doing? And she comes back and says, we can take a cheese roll up and put pico de gallo on it for you as a Mexamelt. Okay. So then I get a little aggravated and I ask her, I said, so you're not selling double decker tacos, even though you always have everything it takes to make one? Yeah, that's right. I said, can you just put one together for me? It's a taco that you put beans on the outside and wrap a soft shell around it. There's no way for us to ring you up for that. And I said, well, they're $1.69 if that helps. She said, we can't just put stuff in directly like that. And I'm like, are you kidding me? What are we doing here, people? I talk all the time about Pizza Hut, and I understand you run a specialty item like nacho fries. You have to keep special items in stock for that. I get it. They go away, they come back. Something like a double-decker taco and a Mexamelt, you always have everything in the building to make those. Why do you even take that off the menu? I mean, really, there's no, I don't know. But I wanted to rant on that for a minute, that people are taking more of my childhood favorite stuff away, and I keep getting pissed off about it.
Maybe it's like the secret menu at Starbucks.
Yeah, well,
like a Taco Bell secret menu. Well,
see, one thing I'm going to try, I'm going to get on the Taco Bell phone app, because in the past I've been able, you can create custom things.
Mm-hmm.
I want to create it and go in there and say, yeah, I guess you're going to figure out a way to ring it up now, ain't you, sweetheart?
Do me a favor and order a Choco Taco the next time as well.
Well, I can get those down at the gas station. I ain't worried about ordering those.
I must be able to pick those up at Taco Bell. That little mini fridge or mini freezer they had on the counter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The cinnamon twists aren't good enough for me. I need the Choco Taco.
Yeah. And before we get off of food, I've got a news item that I added.
Okay.
Spotted recently on store shelves at grocery stores in Pennsylvania. The new limited edition Pringles roasted turkey flavor.
Pringles roasted turkey.
Yes. Now, it was a flavor. I don't know if you remember last year. They put out a Thanksgiving dinner pack. It was 3 short cans that had roasted turkey flavor. It had stuffing and gravy, and then they had a pumpkin pie flavored chip.
Oh, my God. I've never heard of that.
Well, it was 3 little cans. You had to special order it from Pringles. It was a limited run.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the turkey got great reviews because now it's in a full-size can. And from the pictures I've seen, it looks like it's on a cardboard display standing out in the aisle. I have not seen them in my area. If you're listening and you find them, pick me up a can and I will reimburse you for it. I will pay the shipping and I'll throw a little extra in for your trouble. I want to try a can of those.
Why only in Pennsylvania?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying it's only in Pennsylvania. That's just where the 2 pictures I seen came from.
Okay, I got you.
Maybe they're early, getting them early or putting them out on the floor earlier than other stores. But the 2 pictures came from Pennsylvania. I don't care where you are. If you find them and want to do me a solid, pick up a can and I'll pay you for it, whoever's listening.
I'll get in on that as well. Sounds interesting enough for me to try.
Mm-hmm.
They make some good flavors, man. The Pringles Memphis barbecue are like the best on the planet. I swear. They're like my favorite barbecue.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Okay, roasted turkey. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. Well, let's get moving along. We're going to take a quick break and come back, and we're going to get into the time machine. go back and talk about those treats that we would get in our Halloween bags when we were trick-or-treating as kids, and I guess maybe even some now that we still enjoy, and some that we did not enjoy. So come back for the time machine.
Spooky Fruit Loop cereal with marshmallow ghosts are here. Your favorite fruit flavors now have spooky marshmallow ghosts. They're the scariest part of this complete breakfast, but they're only here till Halloween.
McDonald's has a monster of an idea. Happy Halloween certificates. A book of 10 is only $1. Your gang can turn them in for free dessert treats like cones and sample-sized sundaes at McDonald's. Each book also comes with a mail-in certificate for this free Roger Rabbit when you buy your video cassette of the smash hit Who Framed Roger Rabbit. McDonald's Happy Halloween certificates. A deal so good, it's eerie.
Welcome back to the TRN Time Machine, sponsored by Retro Days. One of the big things that Retro Days does each year is the Halloween special over there on the website. So do yourself a favor, go over there and sign up for an account this week at retro-daze.org, and you'll be set up. You can even check out the forums in the meantime. There's a lot of great people over there you can meet and do all the retro talking you want to in those forums. But the Halloween special is coming up very soon. I reached out to Tony. He's not given me a date yet on when that's going to happen. But we've also got a special Halloween episode of RD's Detention coming up over there on YouTube. So, and I know they've got a special guest too. They've got the Crypt Keeper, the actual voice of the Crypt Keeper. He's going to be part of that. So it's going to be very fun. I think Adam even teased that a little bit last week, if memory serves me correctly. So, yeah, man, some good stuff coming up. Everybody seems to get in that Halloween season, and very fun stuff comes up like this. So make sure you're connected with Retro Days this month for some fun content coming up.
When you say people need to go over and sign up for an account, folks, don't let that throw you. It's a free account. There's nothing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not a paid thing. Yeah, go over and make sure you sign up, because like Jay said, you don't want to miss the Halloween special when it hits, because it's a lot of fun. It's like a live watch that you would do on YouTube, but it's with all retro-minded people in a great environment. So you'll want to be notified of when that's dropping.
And if you get the free account, then you can start submitting articles and stuff over there too, and take advantage of the Point Star like we all have. So that'll be fun. Go ahead and do that this week. But yeah, let's keep moving along our Halloween treats, man. I put down here, was thinking of a way to kind of start this little conversation out. What was your trick-or-treat experience like as a kid?
Where I actually lived, it was kind of desolate, of course. But my grandmother lived in town, and she lived on this street. It was not a one-way street or a dead end or a cul-de-sac street, but it had one long straight stretch that she lived on. So we would go, and she kind of lived in the middle of it. We would go there and park, and Mom would sit on her porch with Granny and give out candy, and I could run up and down both sides of the street and be in eye view for, a quarter mile in each direction. Mm-hmm. And the street was filled with older retired folks who just loved the kids and loved Halloween and showed it through the treats that they provided for people. So I had a great Halloween experience as a kid. We got top-notch candy and other treats. As we're going to talk about, not all the best treats were candy, and I'm going to go over a few of. But yeah, it was really fun, and a lot of kids in town that you went to school with came to the same street, and it was just like a party in the street. There was very little traffic. Kids, you could roam around in the street and talk and play and run and go trick-or-treating and still be within eyesight in a safe environment. So I had a great Halloween trick-or-treating experience growing up.
Yeah, that's cool. I thought maybe living out in the country a little bit, you'd have to find another place like that to do your trick-or-treating without having to walk a mile to your next neighbor or whatever.
Yeah, well, there were plenty of cows around us, but they didn't give out candy. So
yeah, that's true.
Trick or teat.
A little refreshment as you're traipsing through the farm lands there. That's fun. I lived on a cul-de-sac growing up, and it was rural kind of area. So we had a main drag that went into town, and then you had several streets off of there that were just dead-end streets. And what we would do is normally hit our street, and we were allowed at some point with me and some of the neighborhood friends to go down that main drag and then up the next dead-end street to hit all those houses as well. And I don't know, there might have been maybe 24 on each street, something like that. So by the time we were done, we had a pretty good size of candy just in 2 streets. And like you said, it seemed like back then everybody participated. Mm-hmm. There was like maybe 1 or 2 houses that would have their lights off, or maybe they were out of town or whatever. But like 90% of the houses would participate, which is not what's the case nowadays. And it's a different time, and it's a safety thing, and people don't feel comfortable with people coming to their door like it's some big conspiracy, like the razor blades in the apple back in the day. But anyway,
well, my kids, they have had the great setup here in the recent years with their Halloweening. There's a subdivision here that has all these crisscrossing streets, and like everybody in that subdivision gives out candy. But not only that, there's a couple of high points. There's one family that has a rather large house there that they turn the whole bottom floor of their house into a haunted house for the trick-or-treaters to go through, take your kids through. There is another house there that sets up this, they bring in all these bales of straw and build like this straw maze haunted house in their backyard that kids can go through. And then in the cul-de-sac, the family that lives there has a bonfire where you can go toast marshmallows and stuff. So in addition to seeing all your friends and doing your trick-or-treating, you got 2 different haunted house attractions and a bonfire, and it's all free, a big, family community environment. So they've had it really lucky. My kids have.
Yeah, I would say maybe 25% of houses in our whole neighborhood participate. So we usually go to like a fall festival nearby at a church or some place where they're, giving out a bunch of candy, and have like the trunk or treat where you set up your trunk and play little games and stuff to win candy. Mm-hmm. We do stuff like that, and I will drive them around the neighborhood a little bit to get that experience of going up to somebody's door you don't know and asking for candy.
Well, you're still in the midst of it with your youngest one, but last year was our last year of going out trick-or-treating. Both of my kids are too old now, but my youngest still wants to go. And I'm like, no, you're too old for that crap. Now you need to be going out and egging houses and stuff. You're too old for the trick-or-treating. You just need to focus on the tricks.
That's right.
I'm going to take her out this year and show her how, and then I'm going to turn her loose next year.
Yeah. Make her go corning. I'll send you some shuck corn.
Well, I'm sure where I'm at, I could find some shuck corn. That's just something we had never engaged in around here.
We're gonna have to go into some of that at some point, but
we need to get together at one of our 2 neighborhoods and just go do that at some point. We'll go pull all your old pranks.
That would be great.
We'll make that a TRN retreat next fall. We'll all get together and go, soak people's windows and stuff. Team building.
Buy some plastic cutlery and fork their yards, and that would be great.
Then we all get arrested, and we're like, Eric, don't you talk. You're going to be out of this thing. One for all for one.
Oh, gosh. All right. Well, just part of our conversation, I was going through my normal feed this week and found that Mental Floss posted an article on all of the popular Halloween candy by state. I thought this would be fun to go through and see what is most popular in our state. And the funny thing for me is, of course, growing up in Pennsylvania, Hershey's is going to be one of the top ones in Pennsylvania, which it is. But in Alabama, it also is as well. So I don't know if my consumption of Hershey's chocolate bars has something to do with that, or the variety packs was what I loved. As a kid, everybody went for the crackle first, it seemed like. Yeah. But those ones I loved as a kid. And I'm not huge into chocolate, even though I grew up close to Hershey. I thought that was funny that both of those states, the top is Hershey. What is it there in Virginia? I'm trying to see what that is.
It's hot tamales.
Hot tamales. Okay.
I wasn't aware that our migrant population had grown so much in recent years to cause that to happen, but we're not the only state. It says that hot tamales is the favorite in 4 different states.
Yeah, well, it looks like, is that Arizona?
Well, see,
Arizona.
I wasn't too far off in my thinking,
Yeah.
but
That's true. New York. I see it in New York. And what is that? Illinois, I think, as well, or Indiana.
it's one of them.
Yeah, hot tamales. Interesting.
Well, that's what I thought. I mean, I wouldn't have. I could have guessed my top 10 and wouldn't have had hot tamales. So
Yeah. Well, that was a little bit of interesting statistical analysis there. Thanks to, I think it was actually through candystore.com.
oh well, I'm not done. I got a few more highlights from this thing.
Oh, okay. Go for it, man.
Candy corn rated the #1 worst candy.
Yeah.
Which crazy because it's the most ordered candy in 5 different states. But, that's not something you really give out for Halloween. That's something you buy and put on your own countertop medium because it's hard to give that stuff away as far as it not being individually wrapped. And my favorite stat from the whole thing is Iowa's favorite is the Indian corn version of candy corn.
That's right.
Which I prefer, the Indian
do
corn
too.
version. So I just thought that was neat that 5 different states had candy corns, and Iowa was the only one with the Indian corn version of candy corn.
We were at Five Below yesterday, and they have like unicorn horns. It's candy corn basically that's like rainbow colored.
I've seen those.
I haven't
We found.
tried it yet.
I don't remember the brand name. It's a cheap candy. You get the little round, clear plastic bowls full of candy corn or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We found last week caramel apple candy corn, and it's really good. Really good.
That's good. I don't mind candy corn and the candy pumpkins too.
hmm
I'd eat those as a kid. So, all right, that was interesting. You want to get into your list here? You want to talk about our favorites first and save the worst for last?
Yeah, how you want to do this? You want to do a countdown, or you just want to talk about this stuff?
We just go back and forth. It doesn't have to be necessarily a 1 through 5 ultimate list.
All right. Well, the first one I'm going to throw out, and it took one of 2 people to give this out at Halloween. Either somebody who was really cool as an adult or somebody who was really cheap as an adult. And that's any kind of plastic toys, like the witch's fingernails or the vampire teeth and stuff like that. But that street I used to trick or treat on, there was a couple people who would just throw in some of that stuff in your trick or treat bag. Mm-hmm. Which on a night that you're getting 90 to 95% candy, it was cool to get something a little bit different because you're going home, you're eating the candy and you're having a good time and you're bouncing off the walls. Well, getting those little plastic toys gave you something to do while you were eating that candy. So I always liked getting those in the trick or treat bags.
Yeah, they weren't bad. I remember getting some spider rings as a kid.
Oh yeah, spider rings were everywhere.
Yeah, it was different. Well, I would prefer candy, but...
Well, I didn't say I wouldn't prefer candy, but like I said, you got a bag full of candy. Having something just a little different sometimes was okay.
Okay. Well, I'm good with it.
I mean, if you don't like my picks, we can stop now. We'll just go on to something else.
I'm not trying to criticize your picks. Your little plastic vampire teeth, yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't come with the fake blood, though, back then. It was just the plastic teeth, Yeah, nowadays, you can get it with the fake blood and do it up right.
Back in my own day, you had to make your own blood.
Right. Okay, I'm going to throw one out there. I'm interested to see what you think about this, because this is just seemingly a Halloween exclusive. Okay, I don't see these anywhere else during the year, and I've always loved it. I'm a big popcorn fan, so I love getting popcorn balls because and I like the kettle corn too because they were sweet. And it might be a little interesting trying to eat them, but I don't know. I like popcorn balls.
I never remember seeing or getting popcorn balls when I was trick-or-treating. The first time, and maybe it was just me, I just missed them, but the first time I saw them was when I actually worked at a grocery store. Like in 94, we got a display of them in. I'm like, what the heck is this? But yeah, that was a good idea, held together, I guess, by some light corn syrup or something. Mm-hmm. It just a ball of popcorn. So... Yeah. Cheap to produce and a great novelty and pretty good if you like popcorn. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I like it. All right, what's another one?
All right, well, I'm staying away from toys for just a sec. I'm going to hit you with two of them. I'm going to give you a candy as well. But there was this older gentleman who was big into collecting baseball cards on that street where I trick-or-treated. And you went to his house and rang his doorbell and said trick or treat, you got a pack of that year's Topps baseball cards. I know.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So going along with like the plastic toys, you got all this candy, and then here's a pack of baseball cards. And at that time, baseball cards was a much bigger deal than they are now. You know,
Right.
more collect them and stuff. So that was awesome. And I remember going back to my granny's porch and sitting down with other friends from school and ripping those packs open and starting trading right then. So I like that. But well, actually, I'm not going to say candy, something food item, were people who would give away drinks, as in Capri Sun pouches or bottles of Squeeze-Its, or some folks even gave away whole cans of soda. And like I said, I trick-or-treated on a street that had really cool stuff because these people just had money and they loved Halloween. But getting, like, you got the spider rings and you got the baseball cards and you got all your candy, and then here's a Capri Sun Pacific cooler to wash everything down with. That was just great, getting drinks in the bag.
Now, I've got a specific story about getting a drink, which kind of ruined Halloween for me, ruined my trick-or-treating pretty much for good.
Uh-oh.
And and this was on my least favorite list. I got a little hug, you know, the little juice that was in the barrels with the foil lid, back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I love little hugs. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not a knock on the drink itself, but giving it out at Halloween, this is what happened to me. So it was like one of the houses we hit last on our way back home. So I've got this bag full of candy, and they throw in the little hug. Well, when they threw it in, a lollipop stick went right through the foil lid. And soaked my candy.
Oh.
Soaked it. I remember going back. Well, I remember walking up the street, and from the street lights, my friend looked back and said, "Hey, dude, you're leaving a trail." I was like, "What?" And he looked, and it's like dripping through my bag. I get back home, and Dad put down a towel, and we just laid it all out. We tried to, anything that was like wrapped candy was pretty much okay, but some of the other stuff just got ruined, and that just did it for me, man. Little hug, a bath of little hug juice on all of my Halloween candy. That was one of the last times I went trick-or-treating. It was all tricks from that point on, and damned if you didn't. I would go back to that house, and that was the first one we egged.
But there's two ways to look at that, though. The glass is always half full. Was it the little hug's fault?
It was freaking empty that night, dude.
Was it the little hug's fault and that person who gave it to you, or was the real culprit the person who gave you that sucker?
Yeah.
If they hadn't given you that sucker, none of this would have happened.
You don't know that.
Well, you don't know that it would.
Anyway, that's what I just associate with my getting out of trick-or-treating. That phase was that year.
Turn out the lights. The party's over, folks.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, one of my favorite candies to get, and you can't get away with it these days. Well, actually you can, because I bought some yesterday, but in a different form. I used to love getting candy cigarettes. I have always loved that chalky taste of candy cigarettes. And before we knew what went on in prison, we kind of mimicked prison, because my friends at school, those things were like currency, but it was candy cigarettes and not real cigarettes. You could get all kinds of stuff for a handful of candy cigarettes back in my day. But now I just seen at Dollar Tree yesterday, they call them candy sticks now.
Yeah.
I bought a bag of, which I'm throwing some in Jeff's nostalgia pack, because I found some retro ones that feature Tom and Jerry and the Flintstones and the Jetsons and stuff on the box.
Oh, nice.
Candy sticks. So, yeah, now they're called candy sticks, but I actually found some Lucky Strike candy cigarettes here a couple months ago, newly produced. I mean, these weren't old collectibles or anything. And I've got some of those in the Retro Museum now. And I ate I bought a carton of them when I bought
a carton of candy cigarettes.
I think I've ate 10 packs of them and kept 2 for posterity.
I've seen them at Big Lots, and they had like the gum cigars.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen those, and then would you remember the candy cigarettes that was the gum? That you could puff, and you had that one little puff you could do of
which
whatever
was
that
just
stuff was.
it was just the bubblegum dust from them producing it, but
Right.
it seemed like the paper was always nearly impossible to get off of that bubblegum cigarette, though.
Yeah.
You was always having to chew little bits of paper.
That's right. Yeah, because you walk around with the thing in your mouth, and it just gets so wet, and then it starts getting sticky from the gum, and you're like,
Yeah.
Carton of candy cigarettes. That's great.
That would make an excellent Christmas present too, if anybody's listening and need, ideas. I prefer the 100s.
Well, you remember, like, back in the day, they would put like a red dot on the end too of this. I don't think they do that anymore.
Well, in the Lucky Strikes that I bought, they did. It's not
Really?
probably not like that on the candy sticks, as they call them, but these are actually marketed and sold as candy cigarettes, which is weird because I thought that was illegal, and maybe these are, somebody flying under the radar, I guess. But yeah, they had the little pink red specks on the end of it.
Cool. All right, my favorite, all-time favorite, still my favorite, are Nerds. I love Nerds. Even the little boxes where you only get one flavor, but you were really lucky if you got like the full pack of Nerds back in the day where you had the two sides that opened up, I've always loved Nerds, and those are the first things I go for in my kids' candy when they're in bed at night. I'm going for a box of Nerds.
Well, going back to that article we talked about, Nerds was listed as the 6th most popular candy.
Mm-hmm.
But it did not make the top pick in any single state. When I wrote this piece for Retro Ramblings last week on my favorite Halloween treats, I put Nerds on the list. It seems like maybe Nerds were out before I become aware of them. I don't know, but it seemed like there in the mid-'80s, Nerds became a really big deal in the candy world. And all my friends at school had Nerds, the dual-sided boxes like you're talking about. And I remember before I finished trick or treating, they had already came out with the little mini boxes, single flavor, like you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And I was the same way back then, man. Give me the Nerds. Those things were great. Because part of it was just the cachet that came with it the next day at school. It was like, I got 9 boxes of Nerds last night. What'd you guys get?
Right. They had some great combo flavors too, on either side when you got the Nerds. Yeah, they blew up. They had the Nerd cereal. They had the little Nerds characters, I think, that came with the candy inside too. And
I used to get those in my stocking at Christmas. Yeah, that little plastic nerd that was just full of Nerds.
Yep, that was a good one.
As time went on, they started producing Halloween flavors like the Christmas. You get like I don't remember what the flavors were, or maybe it was just the theme color packaging. Maybe it was cherry on one side and green apple on the other, but it was red and green, and parents would buy them, put them in stockings. Yeah, Nerds is a classic candy though. But opposite from candy, I've got another non-candy item that I used to love to get, and that was any kind of gift certificate. Like these days, it's really popular for kids to get the little book of the free Frosty coupons. Mm-hmm. And remember what I say, folks, there's only one flavor of Frosty. It's a chocolate. But back in our day, the more popular item was the McDonald's gift certificates. And usually it was for the free small French fries, but there were some years that I got ones for a free small cone. And the only downside to getting that in the trick-or-treat bag was you couldn't do anything with it right away, or at least we couldn't, because our closest McDonald's was 25 minutes away. But you knew the next time you were around there, it was like having money in the bank. I've got this in my hip pocket. Mom's going to take me by. I'm going to get my free ice cream cone. This is going to be awesome. A lot of people may have lived near a McDonald's and go use it the next day, or maybe on their way home from trick-or-treating. But yeah, seeing that in there is almost like when your grandparents would give you a savings bond or something for Christmas. You're like, what am I going to do with this? But you knew eventually it was going to pay off.
I'm going to buy something 20 years from now. Yeah, this is great. Now, bouncing off that, there is an older lady a street over from us, and we had her house pegged every year because as soon as we found out she was giving away this, we were like, we got to make sure we hit this house. She would give out little baggies of money, like pennies.
What?
Yes. Like pennies and nickels and dimes. Yeah. Like her spare change, like she just dumped in like a plastic baggie, tied it off, and threw it in your sack. Like, wow, okay. Either like Halloween surprised her that year, and she was like, oh shoot, it's Halloween again. I don't have any candy, so she just goes to the junk drawer and finds whatever she can, digging through the couch. But yeah, we got like bags of pennies. So this is like, back in the day where we would go down to the candy store and a penny was equal to a piece of candy. So we were like adding more candy to our haul for the night just by getting some change. So it was great, man.
Well, speaking of bags, I got one more item on my list here, and that was the people who would take the time and effort and money to put together the little treat bags. And I put a picture of the classic ones I always think of up on Retro Ramblings, just a little white paper bag with the Halloween drawing on it. And they had stuff, maybe a small box of Nerds and a miniature candy bar, and maybe a Tootsie Roll and a piece of bubble gum or something in it. But anytime people took the time and effort to put together the whole little treat bag was just tops in my book. And I wish more people had done it back then. But, we're all different. Some people couldn't afford to do that. Some people chose to be, I don't know, maybe they saw that as the easy way out and they wanted to try to find the most unique single piece candy they could give it out. But I always loved the little treat bags because it was more bang for your buck. You'd stop someplace and get one piece of something here, and then you come over here and you've got the whole little goodie bag.
Yeah. Yeah, we had none of those people on our block.
Really? Well, like I said, I was fortunate that I had a bunch of these elderly women who love seeing kids and, done it right. The best lady on that street, her name was Claire. I'm not going to say her last name, but she was a widow and she was older, and she actually sprung for full-size candy bars. And she would buy a multitude of different ones, and she'd had this big bowl, and when you came trick-or-treating, you got to pick whichever full-size candy bar you wanted. So we always tried to make that our first stop because you didn't want all the good things getting gone, like the Twix or the Crackle bars or, get there first and have the best selection.
We had older folks on both of our blocks, but they were hit or miss because you could get like money like that. Like I said, I remember getting like pencils and erasers too, just randomly, not like in a goodie bag or anything, but they'd throw those in and I'd be like, okay.
So is that on your least favorite list?
I didn't put it on the least favorite list, but it was just something that I could use and it would be fun for the Halloween season, take them to school or whatever. But
well, it would be fun if you got them before Halloween. You get them on Halloween. You're like, what am I going to do with this tomorrow? I need a Thanksgiving pencil now.
Right. You're digging through your bag and you see this thing, which could be an eraser or could be something gummy, and you have to make the determination. That was my only qualm about it, let me sniff this. Okay, this is an eraser. I don't want to eat this. But just a couple more one more from my list, my favorites list, and those were bottle caps.
Oh, yes.
I loved bottle caps. And of course,
I still love bottle caps.
Yeah, and I still do too. Everybody loved their pop or soda, we called it pop up north.
Yeah, we called it pop here too.
It just had those awesome flavors like root beer and you never knew which flavor you were going to get in those little packs. So I can't remember how many they came in back in the day, but typically now there's 2 or 3. Yeah. I love bottle caps.
Now, surely you've seen those big bins of the movie theater sized boxes of candy at Walmart for $1 a piece. They have those big boxes of bottle caps mixed in there.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah, I've bought them from there for years.
I haven't dug through one of those in a while to see what was in there. So
you can probably get some hot tamales in there too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can. And Mike and Ike and all those same kind of
Now I like Good and Plenty's though. Good and Plenty's my candy.
Oh, no, the purple and white ones.
Yeah, the licorice.
No, that's like the black licorice flavor, right?
Yeah, that's the good licorice flavor. There is no other licorice than black. People who call red vines licorice, that's not licorice. Licorice comes from the licorice tree, and they don't have red vine licorice trees growing out in the wild. That's a figment of somebody on the left coast's imagination.
Yeah, okay.
Now, I like red vines and Twizzlers, but that's not licorice. People need to get out of calling it that. It can be twisted and shaped like it, but it don't mean it's licorice.
Okay, so I got I still got the candy store's worst top 10 Halloween candies. Number 8 is licorice, and number 9 is Good and Plenty.
Fake news. Fake news. CNN, cost the fake news.
Yeah, I can't stand the black licorice flavor. Nope. Or the licorice flavor, as you say.
Yeah, licorice.
All right, what are some? Let's get into some of the ones we don't like.
I like a Tootsie Roll. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the night, when you empty your bag and half of it was the little Tootsie Roll midgets, you're like, what are all these people doing? Can we not pick up something a little better than Tootsie Rolls? Because I would get 40, 50 Tootsie Rolls every Halloween. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
This whole bag's full of these things.
Yeah, those are always the last in my bag, too. You're like, you get down to the end, it's like Tootsie Rolls and I don't know what, erasers.
Well, same thing.
Right. But back in the day, they didn't have the different flavor Tootsie Rolls. How do you feel about like the newer flavors, like fruit?
There's only one flavor of Tootsie Roll.
I know it.
The rest of them are something else. I do like the vanilla ones though, but they're not Tootsie Roll. Tootsie is a brand of chocolate.
What I like to do is take one of the chocolate and one of the vanilla, eat them together.
Now that's a swell idea.
Thank me
like
later. Thank me later.
I'll thank you now. I'll have some. Oh shoot, the kids ain't going trick or treating. Man, I gotta buy that stuff now. Gosh. Oh no. The shipping department at work has a bowl of candy. I bet they'll have some out. I'll sneak in there and get some. Yeah. I'll try that Monday.
There you go. All right, on my least favorite list, circus peanuts. I remember an older lady putting circus peanuts in a baggie and giving those things out. I cannot stand them. Oh,
I guess it's better than just dropping them loose in your trick-or-treat bag.
Right, still, but I don't know. They were just, you never knew what kind you were going to get. Are you going to get the ones that they've been out in their jar for 2 months so that you could use to stop a door with, or are you getting the squishy ones that are fresh?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I can eat 2 or 3 individual circus peanuts about once a year. I'm not a big fan of them in general. I'll eat them every now and then.
Can't even do that.
But as a Halloween candy, trick or treat, you're right. That's got no place. We don't need that. Now it's something that I like, but get it like a candy apple or a caramel apple on Halloween. And there were some folks who would make these with love, and you know, it's an exorbitant treat. But they give it to you and you're holding it and you're like, what the hell am I going to do with this for the next 3 hours? I can't put it in a bag. I'm going to get sticky everywhere. What are you doing? If you're having a Halloween party, great. Make caramel apples, candy apples, feed them to people. But to give them to a kid who's going to be walking up and down the street for the next couple hours, what are you thinking?
Yeah. Fruit has no business on Halloween night, in my opinion.
No, but I tell you what's fun, though. You want to have some pranks with some mean kids that you don't like? Get you a big white onion and turn it into a caramel or candy apple. An onion and watch them bite into that sucker.
There's a good idea.
Speaking of good ideas, and we're talking about horrible Halloween treats, every year on the Jimmy Kimmel Show, Cousin Sal does a video of bad trick-or-treat treats. I don't know if you've ever seen these or not.
No.
But he sets up these hidden cameras around his house and his front door, and these kids come, and he always acts like he forgot it's Halloween, and he just finds them stuff to give them. And these things are hilarious because my favorite one is when there'll be 4 or 5 kids, and they'll knock on the door. He's like, oh, is it Halloween? They're like, yeah, trick or treat. And he's like, oh, hold on, I'll find you something. And he comes back with like a loaf of bread, and he opens it up, and he's dropping a slice in each bag. And the whole video is just to capture the reactions of the kids.
Right.
And I think my other favorite besides that was a kid came. He's like, okay, I got something here for you. Hold out your hands. And he holds his hands out, and Sal starts scooping ice cream into his hands and pouring chocolate syrup on it. And the kid just starts digging in face first and just eating it, getting it all over himself. There are several of those videos on YouTube you can watch, like Jimmy Kimmel Bad Halloween Candy or whatever. And he does one every year. So the day after Halloween, there'll be one up there, a new one to watch.
Meanwhile, the parents out in the car are like, you're walking home. You're not getting into my car.
Yeah, well, you know, Jimmy, the Jimmy Kimmel Show is popular, and Cousin Sal's a reoccurring character on there. So people kind of know where he lives, and they, I think, purposely go there now to get their kids on camera and stuff. So the parents are cool with it. But you could tell back in the early days, the first 1 or 2 he filmed, when the parents are in the scene with them, the look of disgust on their face is priceless because they don't know what's going on, that this is just a gag. And I'm sure they Probably you don't see it on camera, but I'm sure after he does that to the kids, they probably give them some boatload of candy to make up for it afterwards. So don't feel bad for them.
Okay. Okay. Another one for me. I just did not like, and I will eat a Butterfinger every once in a while, but Chico Stick. You remember Chico Stick?
Yeah, they was okay.
It's like the inside of a Butterfinger, the taste or the consistency of it. But I don't know what it was about them. It was just like this long thing that had the consistency of a tree branch, and you bite it off, and it gets stuck to your teeth immediately and will not leave your teeth until it's like dissolved. I just didn't like I don't know. I didn't like Chico Stick.
I don't reckon I have any more. I mean, other than just people who would go, I guess these days the closest comparison would be going to the Dollar Tree and buying the biggest bag of hard candy they can find individually wrapped and dropping it in. And, the flavor's never right on it. And, yeah. A little more imagination, folks.
Right. Yeah, just come on, man. I got two more. The one that my dad, I would give every piece of this I had to my dad because he just loved it, and I couldn't stand it. And that's the black and orange taffy, what they call the peanut butter kisses. Hate those, man.
Peanut butter kisses. I don't know that I'm familiar with that.
It's like that peanut butter kind of individually wrapped taffy stuff.
Oh, you mean like Mary Jane's or Bit of Honey?
No. It's the wrappers themselves are either like orange or black.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that real cheap, just buy it at the Dollar Tree by the bag full of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, Dad loved those, and I was glad to shove them his way. Here, you want some of my candy? You take all those, and leave all the nerds and everything else, alone. So at least I had some currency to give him each Halloween, so he wasn't digging into my bag when I was asleep.
Well, those were just a cheaper knockoff version of Mary Jane's or Bit of Honey, which I love both of those.
I'm not a big fan of those. I will eat one once in a while, but. The other one that I had that I really hated getting was the boxes of Boston baked beans.
Oh, I love Boston baked beans.
Oh my gosh, dude, come on. They're like, it's almost like tricking you because they're like, it got the candy shell, but then it turns into like peanut butter shards, and you need something to drink immediately after eating those, man. They're just so dry and I
think they're good.
No. Not on a candy night. I don't want peanuts coated in whatever that was on Halloween night.
Just a candy shell. It was good.
No. Didn't do it for me. Put some
chocolate
in there or something.
I don't have any specific I don't have any specific memories of getting them for Halloween, but just in general I like those. And the other candied peanut, maybe they're just called candied peanuts, where they got like the little bumps all over them. The Star Bites or whatever they're called. Cultured people, they'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. All right, well, that's it for my list. You're out?
Yeah, I think I'm out.
Okay. Well, this was fun, man. This was a good little overview of Halloween and our trick-or-treat experience and candy and all that stuff. Very good stuff.
And I'm sure we're going to continue hitting Halloween in the time machine probably for the rest of the month in some form or fashion.
I say let's keep it up. We got some stuff planned, anyways, to keep that going. So anxious to see how that comes out. Well, let's get out of the time machine. We're gonna go ahead and wrap things up. What do we got coming up, or what's been going on recently at TRN that people might want to know about?
Well, as you know, Halloween season is in full swing. We've been talking about it here on the show, and we kicked off the Halloween season last week on TRN with Brandon's wonderful piece of the top 10 Treehouse of Horror tales from Simpsons. And the Simpsons what are they on their 30th season now?
I think so.
And they've had a Treehouse of Horror every year, and every Treehouse of Horror has like 3 tales. So there was a lot to choose from. And Brandon is an old school and new school Simpsons fan, loves it. Told me he has seen every Treehouse of Horror episode at least 10 times each. So he was kind of the authority that I went to put this together, and he did not disappoint. Even if you're not a big fan of The Simpsons, you need to go check this list out, because I wasn't aware of how much pop culture horror movies and stuff they really closely parodied with those. I mean, I should have been, but I just wasn't that aware. Great piece. And also last week, another really popular thing was Kevin just kind of offhandedly put together something for the 20th anniversary of an episode of Hollywood Squares, famously featuring Gilbert Gottfried and shouting, "You fool," at everybody for agreeing or disagreeing with him. And that post got retweeted by Gilbert Gottfried himself. And it seems like everybody has been going and watching that. And I had never watched the episode. I didn't even know what he was talking about.
Oh, my gosh.
And then I went and watched those clips. That is some of the most hilarious television that you could watch.
It is. I couldn't stop laughing for like 15 minutes just watching when you get to that point where he starts doing it and they have to take a commercial break and Tom comes back and he's like, "Welcome back to the Gilbert Gottfried show." Mm-hmm. And they just go right back into it again. And you're thinking to these contestants, come on, man.
Then I found another video on YouTube that's just all of his parts like that, all strung together in like a 4-minute video. And it's just rapid fire. It's great.
Well, that's the thing, too, I loved about Hollywood Squares was the people they would get on there would usually hit it out of the park with their first response just to get a laugh out of everybody. You know, yeah. And he did that every time too. When he had those whatever it was 6 or 7 questions in a row. It was like It was great, so great.
And also last week we launched the TRN Halloween Theater. And if you're on the main page at theretronetwork.com, over on the right hand side in the sidebar, you'll see it. We're putting all kinds of Halloween specials, cartoons, movies, and things in there for you to enjoy watching. You know, things like Elvira's 1986 MTV Halloween special, which is one of my personal favorites. Garfield's Halloween Adventure, 80s Halloween commercial blocks. Mark Summers' Magical Mystery Tour for a Nickelodeon Halloween special from back in the 80s, and a whole lot more, and kind of featuring the iconic Paul Lynde Halloween special from 1976. And I'd ask you about this. You've not watched this, have you?
Have not.
But you're going to be. We've talked about that. But you do know who Paul Lynde is?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And speaking of Hollywood Squares, he was kind of a staple on that show for a long time.
Uncle Arthur, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very funny. But he put together a Halloween special that brought together people like Donnie and Marie, Betty White, the Wicked Witch of the West from Wizard of Oz, Florence Henderson singing disco, and the hottest band in the world at that time, Kiss. All on one Halloween special, and it is an up and down roller coaster ride like you're not going to believe when you finally watch this thing. And I urge everybody to go watch it because I'm
looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's very good. But next week coming up on TRN, we've got more Halloween features coming in. Adam has a really great feature on Halloween movies for everyone. And what he done, and he and I talked about this, he kind of made a list of different people that may be in your life that you want to watch Halloween movies for and what's suited for them and what's not. So this list is broken down in things like Halloween movies to watch with the whole family, to watch with the kids, to introduce one of your kids to maybe a horror genre. If you've got hardcore horror fans, independent fans, the perfect movie to watch this season for all these different categories. So I think people are going to like that. And I am putting up a new video this week where we're going to show you some of the hottest Halloween junk foods of 2019 and tell you what we think about them. That'll be coming up probably within a day or so of you hearing this. Matter of fact, I'm going to be filming it after we record this. My kids are all excited, and I've tried to limit their sugar intake so far today because I know it's about to go off the scale here shortly. And there's some other non-Halloween content coming up as well. We're going to really ramp up the Halloween content starting next week, but we've got some coming this week too for people to enjoy.
Here's a couple suggestions for your Halloween candy. I was in CVS today, and I picked up a Cadbury egg that has green slime in the middle.
That's one of my oldest daughter's favorites.
I picked it up for my wife, actually. She loves Cadbury eggs. And then they had Junior Mints that the inside is black and orange. Black or orange, I should say.
We've seen those. We are not so much, well, we do have a little bit of candy coming up in today's video, but we're a little bit more on some higher class of junk food, like Blueberry and Frankenberry fruit roll-ups.
Ooh, I've seen those.
Yes.
I've not tried those yet.
Well, we're going to tell you what they taste like and show you what they look like on this video. We got some other cool stuff that we found and been holding on to, including the new zombie Skittles for this year, which scare the crap out of me. But Have you seen
those? I have not seen them yet. Nope.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell everybody, and you're going to want to watch. I want to tell everybody this. That way it gives you incentive to go watch it because of what may happen. They are the fun-sized packs of Skittles, and they are full of these Halloween flavors. Like, I can't remember the specific names of them now, but they have Halloween names, some kind of scary berry, something like that. But every few Skittles, and you never know what color Skittle they're hiding under in any given pack, is dead, rotting zombie flavor. So,
Nice.
A long time ago when we launched our food review channel, we done the Bean Boozled challenge. My daughter's talked me into that somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Where you got the two jelly beans. One is going to be chocolate pudding, and the other one, it looks like it is going to be dog food. And you don't know which is which, and you each pop one in your mouth and see who gets screwed over. Well, guess who took the beating in that game that night? So I'm a little scared of what's going to happen when I bite into a dead, rotting, zombie-flavored Skittle today. But watch the video. Hopefully you'll see how my kids react, and you'll miss my reaction because I'm hoping I don't hit that sucker.
Dead, rotting zombie.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, the video is it's going to be full of these Halloween treats you need to go out and find, may want to enjoy. But if you're looking for those zombie Skittles, I know they sell them at Walgreens, and I can't remember where the other place is. I think they're only available in 2 locations this year, but Walgreens is one of them.
Okay. We've got a Walgreens nearby. I love Skittles, so I'm going to have to try that.
They are in a silver. They're in a silver bag. That'll help you identify them.
Okay.
And that's
All
what we
right.
got coming up this week.
I've got, for our podcast, I did want to mention Sequel Quest is doing a Trick or Treat sequel this week. So be on the lookout for that. And I believe they're going to be doing Halloween themed kind of episodes for October in the feed. So Trick or Treat sequel coming up this week. And then we did mention next week, Mickey will be back, maybe with a special guest. So,
Well, I will have a special guest, but I don't know if it'll be the special guest I'm hoping to have, which I've told Jason about. And I don't want to throw the name out there right now just because in case something happens. But whether it's on that episode or a later episode, hopefully we will be having a very interesting conversation with a very interesting person that a lot of people listening have seen their work. And I know a few people who are very big fans of this person's work. I don't know if I can be any more vague than that, but I'm trying to stay vague with it. So, I mean, that's on purpose. Big star, everybody. Big star.
Yeah. You would have a ball with that. Just if you know Mickey and know what kind of television, what kind of things he's into, I think you'll enjoy that. But yeah, hopefully that'll come through, and it'll be fun handing the reins over to you next week and see what happens.
Oh, well, there's going to be some stuff happens one way or the other, but good or bad, you know.
All right, and then one quick shout out I wanted to do. This is the Jeff Sheldon show, I guess, today, but he did leave us some feedback I wanted to follow up on from last week when I was talking about my little Dream Team mail-away jacket. He said he sent away for a Nicktoons one and had the same feeling. The graphics were cool, but it was made out of like Tyvek, that same material they like weatherproof houses with under the siding.
Yep.
He said he had forgotten about that, so thanks for the remind, Joel.
I had forgotten to comment on that episode, but I had one of those Dream Team jackets as well.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, I did. Oh, I was all in on the Dream Team in '92. So yeah.
Those are disappointing.
And I've got a shout out here as well. People who visit the site and are part of our community know Eric Vardman pretty well and read his stuff. Just keep Eric in your thoughts. Family going through a hard time right now with some stuff that's happened. It's not my place to explain it all, but if you follow his Instagram, then you'll be up to speed with it. So just letting Eric know we're thinking about him, and if he needs anything from us, he knows where we're at.
Absolutely. We appreciate his contributions musically to the Situation Jukebox podcasts. Been fun to podcast with him, so thoughts and prayers going out to him. And I guess I've kind of taken over the reins a little bit in the meantime in the music world with those misheard lyrics posts, and I've been trying to just kind of keep that going as Eric has been tied up and not doing his normal like music articles and such. So hope things work out for the best there, Eric. But that's going to do it for our show this week. Connect with us, as we always say, over there on social media, TRN Social. and RD80s Yesterdayville for Mick and I's personal accounts. But I think that's going to do it, man.
Yep. Until next week, everybody, when Jason ain't going to be here, and we're going to have a hell of a time.
All right. Have a great week, everyone.
As my dad always used to say, be good or be good at it. Next week, I plan on being good at it. So,
okay, man. We'll see you next time.
If there is a next time.
Trying to end the damn show.
Oh, I may end it next week.
Oh, okay. I will see you in 2 weeks, and if the show is still here.
If it's still here.
Y'all have a good one.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Retro Network Podcast channel. Make sure you listen to all of the great podcasts we have to offer right here in this feed. If you enjoy our channel, please give us a 5-star rating in your favorite podcast app. Connect with us on social media by following TRN Social and visit the retronetwork.com website for your daily retro fix. Come back next week for another episode of the Retro Network Podcast.